Can you say hard hats, folks? Hard hats, lunch pail, steel toe boots.
Anything short of a championship this year is a failure. Look at this boomer right here.
You've just got so much talent here.
Somebody said we need to apologize for Jalen.
Can I close it, John? What are we apologizing for? What did we say? What did we do?
Going on here?
What's up? What?
It's getting all weird.
We didn't get the roll in though. It's busy.
The fade was weird.
It must be busy. He didn't let us ride into the show with the da-na. What's up, John? Am I lagging? Are you lagging? Am I lagging?
No, we're good. We're good.
I'll let the chat.
Cut it.
Start over. We'll do it live.
We'll do it live. No, we're good. We're here. Jimmy Toscano is back, freshly shorn.
Yeah, I got a haircut.
He's gonna put his Nutrafol to the test, and see how it goes. Yeah, he's gonna try. He's gonna see what happens. See how.
I'm very confident that it's gonna work. Let's put it that way. Very confident.
Yes. Someone said the stream crashed for them. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Sorry.
Yes, I'm back, but I am going away this weekend, so this is just a tease. But then I will be back after that, and I don't have anything too crazy planned. I don't think so. Should be.
And then I'm going away.
Then you're going away.
A break. I need a break, Jimmy. I need a break.
You could. Yeah, you deserve it. You deserve it. Where are you going?
Different places. I got a conference, Jimmy. I got work stuff.
Conference? Is Chelsea going with you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not a break. That's not a break. That doesn't count.
Yeah. Anyway, so same pattern for these three games. Sports. Same pattern for these three games. Kind of, mixed baggy first half, letting them hang around.
Yeah.
Not putting them away. Tonight it was
turnovers.
Tonight it was turnovers, a little bit of offensive rebounding, atrocious 3-point shooting.
Borderline non-existent. We'll get into that.
Borderline. And again, we're looking for the number, but 5 threes? What? Joe is going to absolutely. Don't be surprised if when Josue and Bobby finally take the court, if you don't have a Herb Brooks sort of moment with him out there, just having him just shoot threes, again.
You think Gary Washburn's walking around with a little pep in his step today?
Hey Joe, what's up? No threes.
Hey, you guys won by 20 without taking 43s tonight. What's up with that? I was told it couldn't be done.
Washburn's not in shambles. Washburn's taking a victory lap right now.
That's what I said. He's walking around with a little pep in his step. Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
How you like me now, Joe? Yep. Yeah. I don't have a kid, and I'm married. What?
Yeah. Living the dream.
What? What else you want to know? Shoot less threes, dude.
The blueprint is now out.
Yeah, exactly. Gary's taking nonstop victory laps. He's on his third one, He's on a
We love Gary.
It'll be great. Gary, this would be the ultimate troll. Gary sits in the press conference and just stares at Joe and just goes but never asks the question.
Forgot what I was going to say.
No, I'm good. I forgot.
Yeah, wasn't important.
I don't remember. But
here it is. Gary
really good third quarter. The Tatum and the bench was brutal tonight, and this is good. This is okay. Here we go. Ready? Our overreaction of the night. Bench worries us. Get Tillman some action. Chat. I was in the chat while you were, primping, whatever it is you do before you come on.
Yep.
Lot of like, what are we doing, man? We're gonna get extra.
Springer got some burn.
Yeah.
Springer over Tillman. Who saw that one coming?
So we'll talk about that because I know people are interested in it. And I do find it interesting because it's a little bit of a contradiction for some of the other things that Joe says in terms of being uncomfortable. But and it's another Brown 3 straight great Jalen games post dunk contest embarrassment. He's been great. Great.
Yeah. No,
great.
he's
Best
awesome.
player out there. Best player out there.
He's been playing smart basketball overall. Not trying to do too much. But again, scoring in bursts, taking control of the game, looking like he is the 1A to this team more often than he had been. And when, Tatum had a funky game because he really turned it on in the fourth quarter when they needed him. But prior to that, I think, 14 points going into that quarter. Brown was really the guy that they were going to more, and the guy that really kind of stepped up there. And Porzingis stepped in, and they all went to the line tonight. It was just such a different game. What I like about this game is that they won in a different way, John. They didn't win by scoring, 25 3-pointers tonight and taking 60. They won by pounding the paint. Al Horford even got in on the action tonight, down low. So I don't know if this was something that they pivoted to when the threes stopped, when the threes weren't going down right away, or if it's something that they decided to ahead of time. What is this?
This is a funny comment.
That is still true.
He went left several times, including a lefty dunk. One was a foul and another was a finish. So he did go left and score left, or it had it result in
22 3-point attempts, lowest of the season
points
for the Celtics.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And the last time they took 3-pointers in the 20s, they lost to Orlando. So again, this was a different type of a win tonight. So you got to kind of like it, And again, Sixers without Embiid. Sixers have been just handing out they've been taking L's every which way they possibly can. They're like on the brink of not even making the playoffs at this point. But all that being said, I like that the Celtics played aggressive, got to the line. These are the things that we've been saying that we want to see from them more. Being physical. Tatum got teed up. Not saying that was because he was physical, but a little bit of attitude out there and just play bully ball. I hated how the Sixers came back in that fourth quarter, got to 2. But again, the Celtics didn't let them complete that comeback, and then that's when Tatum really took over.
Yeah,
that was nice.
So that bothered me because the bench is gonna catch all the strays there, and and I get it because they haven't been great, but when the shots aren't falling, and so they weren't great tonight. But I thought Tatum was dog shit in that early in that fourth quarter, and generally kind of like at the end of this is a classic. You're gonna look at the stat line and be like, oh, what? Almost a triple double MVP stuff. What are you talking about? It really wasn't a great Tatum game.
But you have to break it down. Like he had a great fourth quarter.
He had a great fourth quarter. He had a great fourth quarter after letting the Sixers back into the game because the bench wasn't out there, but you're supposed to trust Tatum with those. It's Tatum, 1 starter and 3 bench guys. Granted, one of those guys was Al, and he counts as one of your, big 6. But they were bad, and even that scramble play with the loose ball where everyone's diving around trying to make something happen. Tatum's just watching it. He had another play where he took a shot, kind of, followed it in there, was pissed it didn't go in, bodied a defender with no chance of getting a steal, and then just walked up the court, resulting in a 3 and the timeout there, and he didn't get back in the play. I didn't like that at all. And then what does Joe do coming out of the timeout? He subs Luke Cornett in. That's his move. He brings in Luke, and what do? They go on a 16-0 run. Granted, not all with Luke in there. Eventually, White, Porzingis, Brown come back in. But from that point on, Joe's big adjustment was bring Luke in the game, and it settled things a little. And they got back onto it, and then Tatum went into takeover mode. Those couple of dunks were electric. Plays of the night sort of stuff. And then all of a sudden, you look up, it's like a 19-point game. And you're like, how the hell did that happen?
Yeah, they clamped down on defense too. It was both sides of it. They were able to get out in transition and limited the turnovers, all the key stuff that goes into going on a run like that. And I think just have a Luke in the game, John. I hate to say it. I hate to have a Luke in the game settled the boys down a bit. He's that calming presence out there. I'm sure Bobby will get into it when he gets on. Bobby's there. Josue's there tonight. So be good to get those guys' perspectives when they.
Yeah, and Hauser was getting cooked tonight. Hauser got caught in a couple of switches with Maxey early, and that didn't go well. He's just too fast. Maxey can't. You can't do that. I'm not putting it all on Tatum. It's just Tatum's got to be the everything in those units. Yeah. And when he's in his feelings, and he's not. This was one of those nights where he complained about call. Like I know the whole Tatum universe. Like he doesn't get the superstar calls, like he should, and like sorta.
The refs are still.
He got to the line 11 times tonight. So, but this was one of those nights where every single time he missed a shot, he was looking for a call that absolutely didn't exist. I hate those ones. Like it's like you just came up short. Like you missed it. It's. It's not a big deal.
I think
just
it's just
back.
Always going to be part of his game. I think a little bit. It's just something that he's tried to work on a little bit. You do see less pouting. As much as we used to, but the emotions that's just his reaction to things. And I guess, I wonder if there are, other superstars who do it just as much as he does. And we just don't see it as much. Like you can't tell me that Luka doesn't bitch and moan up and down the court
a ton
all
of people
game, every
do.
game. So
I mean, no question about it.
It's just part of the territory. I think when you get to that MVP type discussion, we got a couple super chats here.
I know the Tatumverse taking some strays here again. Look, it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't great, but it was a takeover sort of fourth quarter there. 20.
Thank you,
V Tony Vicente.
All right, read it. Number one.
Tony.
I'll read it.
Why don't people talk about JB's atrocious free throw shooting? We do. They do.
Yeah.
People do.
People definitely.
It just wasn't. It wasn't. I mean, generally speaking,
he was 8 of 10 tonight. I don't think that's the night where we talk about his atrocious free throw shooting. Number 2, Drew seemed like he was in his own head and would cause a moronic turnover, then make up for it with a good play. Okay. Thoughts on that? I don't know. I mean, there were a few silly turnovers tonight for sure. What Holiday end up with? He had 4 turnovers tonight. So, when we're talking about the best performances of the night, I don't think Drew Holiday would be on the first couple of guys on that list.
I thought he was good early. I thought they were all a little sloppy.
More often than not, he's pretty reliable with the ball. And I think, again, he's a guy that if I'm comparing him to Marcus Smart, that's just the default comparison, I still trust him with the ball in his hands pretty much every time. So I'm not going to complain about free throw shooting on a night when they went 34 from 37. They were Brown did miss 2 of those, but
they were like sixth in the league or something.
They got to the line so much tonight.
Coming into this one, the free throw shooting, while it's frustrating watching it when it's Tatum and Brown, because oftentimes they're the ones with the ball in their hands late, and you certainly don't want to miss free throws late in close games. Overall, they've been an outstanding free throw shooting team this year, so that's fine. The turnovers were weird. They looked oddly disconnected on some of them. They were expecting people to be certain places and that they weren't. Some weird, just kind of, hot potato sort of stuff there. And that's fine. And it's who is Drew? It's Drew.
Don't get John going on the pronunciation again.
Drew.
Would you call him start the year J-Roo?
J-Roo. What's up, J-Roo?
What's up, J-Roo? He's like, okay.
But I thought Holiday played a good game tonight. So I'm, like a really good game. So I'm not gonna. I don't know what it was within his own
Something's
head.
wrong. But, Tony's angry tonight. I don't know why.
But he had a couple of turnovers, and that wasn't great.
Somebody pissed in Tony's cereal. He's complaining about offensive rebounds tonight too.
See, Tony threw down 20 here. Okay, so. The Tony
I don't even
slander,
know what his offensive rebound question.
The Tony slander ends now.
It's not slander. It's just a couple. It's healthy debate, John.
So I'll ask this question. I don't know when we talk about this. Someone mentioned it last game. Is there experimentation going on? Certainly not with the bench rotation, not yet. But one tweak tonight. Brown and Tatum's minutes flipped. Tatum played the entire first quarter. That's not something that looked like a thing that they were doing different. I don't know whether this was let's try to get it into the paint just to see if we can do it all game long and not shoot threes. I think it was that They just didn't think there was an interior presence there that they had to worry about, so they just decided to do that. And Philly played small.
Yeah, I mean, considered effort, sure. I would imagine at some point in the game, I would think whether it was Joe or the assistant coaches said, "Guys, it's working. Keep doing it. Let's keep pounding it down low. Let's drive. Let's be aggressive." They got Horford involved. I mean, it was definitely a different attack style. I mean, Brown only took 2 threes, I think, tonight. Tatum was the only guy who was taking threes tonight, and that is definitely unique. So I would not be shocked if there was some sort of, whether it was at halftime, whether it was in a timeout in the beginning, whenever it was, there was something that was said that they made an emphasis to pass up some of those threes, whether they were forced or not, and take it interior, take it interior. That's it.
As the kids say.
Yeah, take it interior on them.
Take it interior, right?
Just take it interior. That's what happened.
And that's good. We do have Joe Mazzulla calls it one of the best games in the year for Boston.
Okay. Interesting. And that was the game that they didn't shoot any threes.
What are you saying here? That they learned, they got good information from the game. This was an informational gathering experience. Joe will elaborate for us. We'll hear from Joe. We'll hear from the rest of the players. We will hear from Bobby Manning and Josue Pavon, presumably, when they get it together down at the Garden. And we'll kind of keep talking. We'll talk a little about the Sixers too in general. Are they toast? Is the Embiid thing a pipe dream? Is it really happening? Is he coming back? I will say, if he comes, he hurt himself before the playoffs last year. He was supposed to miss time, or before that series, and he only missed a game. I don't put it past this guy to come back on 10 seconds worth of rehab off of that knee and be close. Conditioning wise going to be a problem, but still be a force. Like I'd rather not them be the 8th seed. If Embiid returns, that's just my opinion.
No, I mean, like, if Embiid comes back, and they're obviously a team that you need to be on the lookout for. But as of right now, John, they are toast. I don't know if the report that Embiid's a month away, I don't know if that's just coming from the Embiid camp, or that's just to keep the Sixers spirits high, but they're losing every which way right now. They don't have enough talent without Embiid. And even when Embiid does come back, if he's at 75%, that's not enough. You need an Embiid to be close to MVP level to get this Sixers team anywhere near the NBA Finals. Yeah, they can be an annoying first round opponent for somebody, but I'm under the impression that Embiid's not going to get back to 90% or more based on this injury, especially if he rushes back a little bit. So it would be foolish for the Sixers to overdo it with him anyways, because he still hopefully has some good years left, and you really don't want to jeopardize that by forcing him back to try to win a playoff series.
Smoked by a 1 seed, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're not good enough. They're not good enough. They're just not. And so to answer your question, I think they're toast. And I know Bobby's going to say that they're toast too.
So nothing to see here doing the work for us. Last time Celtics made 5 or fewer threes in a win was 6 years ago, January 2018. I believe it. I'm willing to believe that. I'll take it to the bank.
I'll believe that too. Good stat. Because you would think that they're going to probably lose those games, especially in today's NBA, where it's so 3-point heavy.
Yeah.
Did I miss you, Gregory Leclerc? Did I miss you guys crapping all over JB? No. Wow. Am I missing something tonight?
Some people just come here spoiling for a fight, Jimmy. I'll tell you that.
So he's like being sarcastic. Because why would we talk shit about JB?
Because you do all the time, and I don't like it.
Oh, poor Greg.
I'm sorry, Greg.
Sad Greg. Old Greg.
Louise will tell you how nice we've been to JB coming out of the break here.
Yeah.
Okay. How nice they've been.
This is, you know what though? We're not going to talk bad about Jaylen Brown tonight because there's no reason to. And we usually just say it like it is. And some people don't like to hear that. But the truth is, if you want the facts, you come to the Garden Report. We don't We don't sugarcoat things here, folks. And more often than not, we're right. Sometimes it takes people a little bit longer to get there, but we're usually right.
It is funny in the sense that, like, it's all funny. This is how fans are. This is how fans go. It's fine. Like, when they play well, yes. Talk about JB, you jerks. When he doesn't play well, like,
yeah, they don't show up to that one.
Are we doing the 7 turnovers tonight or no? So is John ever right? Surprisingly, yeah, I am quite a bit. Quite a bit. But nobody wants to admit it, and that's fine.
I'm hearing we did get a Gary question on 3-pointers tonight.
Shut up.
I'm hearing we did.
Oh, it's a funny exchange. I can't wait to see Joe be funny. I am curious. I like that people were like, Joe got information from game. He learned. I learned.
Yeah. Information gathering. Must apply to Friday's match.
Must download in time for Friday. Yeah. 3 days to implement new strategies.
3 is more than 2.
But yeah, that's what we got going on. Oh, do I have it? Do I already have it?
That'd be quick.
Is this it? Ahmed, is this it?
No, this could be this is probably best game of the year clip if I had to bet. Play it. Let's find out.
No.
Why not?
I like to know.
Is this going to be the one where he says it's the best game of the year?
Which one is it? What'd you just do? Did you hit your microphone and miss the thing you threw in the air?
Yeah, no, I caught it. It's a light bulb.
Okay.
But I did hit the microphone.
Joe Mazzulla on something coming up right now.
Here we go.
You guys are 0 for 2 from 3 in the second quarter.
Wasn't this the opponent where you asked me if we shot too many threes, like game 4 of the year?
Philadelphia.
Full circle, huh? What a beautiful moment.
Yeah, next, I'm asking about Maxi's shooting.
Yes.
When you go 0 for 2, do you come to a realization that we're not going to win this game with threes? Like, is that hard to accept? Is that like
no? I
win
think
this game with threes?
That's a good question. No, I just think every game is going to present a different challenge, and so when you're looking at that sharp margin, you have to ask yourself, okay, why and how are we going to attack and defend at that level? And so. I don't want to get into a box where, and we've never said we have to win doing this. That's never been stated. We always take what the defense gives us. We're one of the best teams at doing that, and that's kind of our offensive philosophy is take the best shot and find the best shot.
I don't know. Is that true? I feel like they have said that, like, this is how we're going to win games, by taking 53s, but maybe not in those exact words.
Yeah, we need to shoot a ton of threes. Again, here's the thing. We're wrong, they're right. In terms of if the media says, "Hey, it looked bad tonight," actually I thought it was great.
Right.
If it's too many threes, well, what about the layups? If it's not enough threes, I loved our approach. Best game of the season. You're not going to win this one, guys. You're not going to win.
Hang it up.
It's not Cotton Eye Joe. It's Contrary Joe. It's just
nice.
He's
got
just
him.
He's just gonna be that guy. And that's it. You know why? And I've said this a million times before. They don't respect us because they shouldn't. Because the media knows a fraction.
We're dog shit.
Because we're dumb. Because when it comes to basketball, God, yeah. I hate getting reminded of it.
Or am I in therapy again? Just like that.
You're stupid and worthless. No, I mean, look, it's probably the biggest disparity in football in terms, like, nobody knows anything about football compared to what these guys do. Yeah, but I mean, like I said, these guys are PhDs and everybody else here just got, made it into the first grade. Like, so they're not really respecting where the questions are coming from. And that's why the answers end up being the way that they are.
But he did say that was a good question tonight. So he did respect the question.
He did. But I get it too. I mean, like, I get it. You know?
Sure, I get it. That being said.
It's like your friend who doesn't really watch sports watches a game with you one time, right? And he's like, Mac Jones sucks. And
Who's
you're like,
winning the
you're like,
match?
you're like, you're right, but you don't know why he sucks because you don't watch enough to know. Like,
Yeah. You're just saying that because you heard me say it.
yeah, you might be right, but you don't understand why you don't know enough to know whether it's right or not. You're
Right.
just saying it. So
But-
then you contradict them, and you're like, actually, and then it's like, and there you go, and you're like, why am I doing this? Yeah,
You're the well actually guy. You don't want to be the well actually guy. You do not want to be the well actually guy.
Well, actually,
Nobody likes that guy, and if you don't know that guy,
yeah,
you might
everyone
be
has
guy.
that, and so then you start to you're like, I'm just going to prove that I'm smarter than you, even though I actually think what you said is right. I just don't like how you arrived at that conclusion, and that's why those answers come out that way. Like I said, I speak Joe, I speak Coach.
You speak Joe GPT.
Joe GPT. I get where they're coming from there.
Boop.
Yeah, he did. That's right. That's a good one, Louise. He did not mention Gary's family, which is good. Is Joe growing on you? I'll ask you that. Is he growing on you?
Yeah, like a fungus.
Yeah.
No, I mean, sure.
No.
I don't really have a strong opinion on Joe either way because I don't cover the games like that. I mean, I watch him and I kind of laugh at some of the things. I think this team is so good, John, that I give Joe credit for keeping them together and being a part of it. But I think you'd have to be a really bad coach to not get the talent on this team, at least 1 through 6, is difficult to lose. So I give Joe credit for being able to win with these guys, but kind of ends there.
I think people are turning on Joe, turning in the right direction on Joe. I don't want to say made fun of it.
I think he's fine. Like I don't have a problem with him.
There's a lot of there were a couple of method to his madness sort of pieces where I think people like I don't want to make a Belichick comparison on, because you're not comparing anybody to, the one of the most successful coaches in the history of professional sports in an extremely difficult game to have that kind of success, which the NFL is. But it got to a point where you're like, everything in my being says this is wrong, but I have to give him the benefit of the doubt. Joe certainly hasn't earned the benefit of the doubt over a long enough timeline, but you're just looking at this record and they're 46 and freaking 12. And like,
right.
I don't know, like, can you make a case? My thought was they might win the championship in spite of Joe when the season began, right? That was kind of my thinking. I think a lot of our thinking. They might win it. I still think they could probably have a better coach or someone who's going to, have them better prepped for the playoffs, be able to make adjustments when things get blah, blah, blah. That still might be the case. And they still might be able to win potentially in spite of Joe. But, who's got them in a better position and playing better overall basketball than they are right now at this point in time? Like how much better are you getting than this?
No. I mean, at this point, John, I don't think you're getting much better. So I think we all have to reserve judgment. But I think the real opinions on Joe are going to come out in the playoffs this year, and it's to me it's championship or bust. So maybe that's unfair, but I don't think it is. I think when you look at the offseason this team had, you look at who they brought in, why, the money they spent, you look at the future, and you know that they're going to have some tough decisions to make with roster decisions. And listen, if they win a championship, no one's going to be able to say anything bad about Joe or anything bad about Tatum or Brown or Porzingis or anyone else. If they don't, you're going to get a lot of criticism, a lot of negativity, and it's going to come at those guys, Tatum, Brown, and Joe. And depending on if they lose, it's depending on how they lose, when they lose, the way they lose, all that stuff is going to be important. So right now, it's all fine and dandy. It's the regular season. We all expected the Celtics to be in like first or second place in the standings in the regular season. They're in first. They're in first by a wider margin than any of us probably thought. And that's great. But we also know that they got punked last year in the playoffs. So have they learned from it? Has Joe learned from it? Is he going to be able to coach a series against somebody who might be considered a better coach like a Spoelstra? It's no offense to Joe. Everybody would agree that he is. It becomes a bit of a chess match at that point. So when Joe says, tonight was a great win. We learned a lot of things, or we got good information. Good. Apply that information to the playoffs, because there's going to be times where the opposing team's going to adjust to the way you guys beat them, and vice versa. So
yeah,
I can't even
apply it and
answer
put-
whether or not. Yeah, exactly. I can't even answer the question if Joe's the right guy or the wrong guy. I need to get through this whole regular season and playoffs, and then I think that answer will. I think it will have answered itself.
Yeah. So that's kind of the thing, you know, and a lot of people putting it here. Yeah, regular season. I get it, you know. I think that's the feeling with everybody, right? The whole team. Like, let's see them do it in the playoffs.
Who's a better coach for their team? Joe Mazzulla with the Celtics or Jim Montgomery for the Bruins?
That's a good question.
Because right now the Bruins are reeling.
I think Montgomery legit choked.
I do
mean, in a very, very obvious way. You know, like
totally horrible.
He froze. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know what to do with the lines. When Bergeron came back, he didn't know what to do.
What to say.
He didn't know what to do with the goaltenders. He really, 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 really froze. Joe didn't freeze last year, but Joe had some moments where whatever. But then you can also say that he pants Doc Rivers in the conference finals, you know, in those last couple of games.
Mm-hmm.
But again, yes, the story has yet to be told in terms of whether Joe Mazzulla is the guy. But they win it, yeah. You're not going to be able to say anything here, there, and all of this stuff just becomes weird, Belichicky.
But
and
if they don't, I wonder
nonsense.
what's going to happen.
Yeah,
I really do wonder what will happen if they don't.
I think if they don't make the finals, he's in jeopardy of losing his job. If they don't make the finals in a way where everything falls apart and it's not going to be his fault, it'll be the player's fault again. But as we've said a million times, you just can't squander this. If it's like, okay, yeah, the coaches say, okay, well, I got to get somebody in here that these guys will respond to in the playoffs. So I'm sorry, Joe, but you got to go. And they'll bring in another guy again. And on and on and on.
Fourth guy.
Who are you going to get, right? Brad was mellow and let them do their thing. Ime was in their face. Joe is psychotic, you know, but like, you know, like, what are you doing?
Do they hire from within? I mean, you've got Cassell, you've got, you know, Lee, you've got some guys some big hires. I don't know.
People are going to tune in now and they'll be like, people just tuning in the show will be like, they're freaking talking about who's going to be the next coach of the Celtics. We're not. We're not.
Rewind it like 10 minutes and just watch.
Yeah, we're not. Shut up. Everyone shut up. Because now the chat's doing it too. This isn't the conversation we're actually having. Right. I'm just simply saying that, yeah, Joel.
You brought it up.
No, I'm just saying, have you changed your mind? Because Joe was, there's the two biggest question marks entering the season were how Tatum and Brown would fit with other players and like whether they'd understand their roles. And it took a little bit of time. You know, Brown in the early part of the season to figure it out, but they were still winning. They were learning on the fly, but they were still performing well. And the other question mark was Joe. The players. So just my question was, you know, are you on board? And a lot of the chat was like, I'm Team Joe now, you know?
Yeah. And I think a lot of the players have come out. Porzingis has been pretty vocal recently about, you know, commending Joe in his coaching style. So as long as they're winning games and the players are happy, again, who the hell are we to question it, right? I mean, it's working. As long as it's working, I'm cool with it. As soon as it stops working, guess what? See you later. How's that?
That guy. Oh, here we go. Don't cover your eyes, Louise.
If we can't make at least the finals, it will likely be on JB.
Look at these hypotheticals. We're into it. JB doesn't sign a supermax, but a 1+1 like LeBron. You know,
JT.
Let's start talking.
Yeah, come on. There's no way. That's just a really dumb financial move.
Yeah. Take the bag, buddy. Yeah. So anyway, we're waiting on Bobby, Josue.
Any word from these guys?
No, I haven't heard from them all game. I assume they're there.
Of course not.
Yeah, of course not. Of course not. While we wait for them, I'll tell you guys, if you want to jump in here, this February deal still going on. 150 bonus bets.
Not for long. February is almost out.
Almost done. And they got an extra February day. We did that just for you this year, so you can cash in on this offer. 150 in bonus bets when you place a winning $5 bet, and you visit FanDuel.com/Boston, the exclusive wagering partner of the CLNS Media Network and the official partner of the NBA. NBA March Madness, you definitely want to get involved in that. That's going to be a ton of fun. Both men's and women's college hockey. If you like that, a lot of local teams are going to be in the Frozen Four tournament.
Bean Pot was like a preview of the Frozen Four this year.
Friggin', except Northeastern was like,
that is their Frozen Four.
7 games under 500,
and won
it. Good for them. Yeah. That's more fun. But I mean, you're looking at. I mean, BCBU are 1-2 right now in the country.
That's crazy. Every year, man, those guys are just freaking
old school. There was a dip for a little while with those teams.
Always
and
around.
You got like friggin', Yeah.
It's awesome.
I love it. Always the same.
BC Sports trying to make a little buzz. They got what's his name? O'Brien now coaching the football team.
Yeah.
Hockey teams.
But you're looking at 4 New England teams in there. But anyway, so get involved here once again. FanDuel.com/Boston. Deposit 10, $5 bet. You got to win it. 150 is yours. Those are non-transferable bonus bucks. Restrictions do apply. Check out the website for more details on that. Jimmy, what else do you want to talk about for tonight? Are you getting mad about Xavier Tillman yet?
It feels like the Stevens saga all over again, doesn't it? I mean, they acquire the guy. Everyone thinks, oh, nice little pickup there, low money. Stevens coming off a sneaky quiet year, and then they just never played him ever. So you get rid of him. Oh, great. Finally, they got rid of him. By the way, Stevens is doing his thing in Memphis, getting some playing time. And then they sign, and then they trade for another guy now in X. We'll call him X. And he can't get on the court. I'm not that upset about it yet, John, because, again, they're winning. But I would like to see him get sort of acclimated with the team. I'd like to see some burn, see what they got here. I mean, based on the highlights and the film studies that I've done on this guy, he can help them in a number of ways. Good passing, big, can switch defensively. I don't know why they wouldn't throw him in there just to see. I don't think he has like a huge liability factor to him that would prevent them from doing it. But maybe it's still injury related, John, and they're just not saying anything. I can't figure it out otherwise.
Well, so that was my quibble was about with Joe saying he likes to, you had a stretch in the last game where he didn't call a timeout and he let him play through it. He said he likes those games when they're losing things in the fourth quarter because adopt the chaos and learn from it. And sometimes you got to get out of your rhythm and figure out how to do other things. Well, it would be a little uncomfortable right now working a couple guys into your rotation and seeing whether or not they could play. It might be a little lumpy and bumpy, but you are running out of time. It's getting late early, with this. So they got to figure it out. And if he's the 11th guy, and that was always the case, I just can't believe he's not ahead of Luke. We get it. I get it, Chris.
24 games left in the regular season.
This isn't a godsend. This isn't the answer. I'm definitely a little perplexed that he can't push Luke a little. I am surprised about that. I really do think people are going to freak the F out. Every Luke Cornett playoff minute is going to feel like 100 minutes. It is.
I tend to agree.
Yeah.
We're all watching the same film out there. Now, again, Luke has been able to come in this year and
getting late early, by the way, for the people in here is a Yogi Berra quote. But anyway,
and be just good enough to maintain and to do his thing as the third center, and for the money he's getting paid, fine. But it feels like Tillman, again, it's the ceiling factor. It feels like he can offer more. He can do more out there on both ends of the court. He's aggressive. He's physical. He's a good passing big. Talked about how he can pretty much switch on multiple positions on the defensive side. So toss him in there, throw him in the fire, and see what he's got. Maybe he can get some more burn than
throw this guy in the fire too.
Josue, throw him in the fire.
We're going to hear from Josue Pavon. First, we're going to hear from Jaylen Brown talking about the lack of threes in today's game. Here's JB.
Love it. Very good at shooting threes. And I think a part of my job, my responsibility is to get to the paint, to collapse the defense, to make sure we get open looks. So, sometimes I pass up threes in order to try to get a paint touch because we need a little bit more of those to help our three-point shooting even more. So, a lot of times I take it upon myself just to try to get to the paint, even if I do have a wide-open shot, because I know if the defense collapses, then we'll be able to get some open threes down the line.
Everyone's just passing up threes now. Everyone is all about passing up threes now, Josue. They've always
Louise's heart is all aflutter.
I mean, that's what you're supposed to do when they're not falling, right, guys?
Yes, it is.
Last year's team didn't always do that, especially if they got like 2
I wouldn't say this year's team has either. Tonight they did, though.
But I'll say this: every single Celtics fan on any night, where on any night the threes aren't falling, that's what they're saying.
You're gonna say when Gary asked about it?
When Gary, no, I was gonna tie it back to Gary, but that's we've talked about number of threes versus the quality of threes and how important it is to get paint touches and let it kind of flow from there. And so, when Joe says best game of the year, it's like we don't believe you. But like with Jaylen, Jaylen's been saying it since last year with Joe. Sometimes we just get three happy, and I think that's his mentality. I think a lot of people feel that way too. So, I'm digging it.
I think that's what Joe's been trying to relay all along. It's not about, you have to hit a certain mark or else it's a failure. It's reading what the team, what the defense gives you. And if it's a good looking, shot, if it's an open look, he's not going to say stop taking those. I think that's been the narrative with Joe. At least that's what he's been trying to get across all season long, but it doesn't always translate. But this game is a perfect, as he said, a sort of a template of what this team has to do when the three-point shot isn't falling. And that's essentially attack the rim, get to the free throw line. Jaylen Brown had a lot to do with that in that first quarter. And obviously take care of the ball. I mean, those turnovers, that's what essentially kept the Sixers in it, right? Along with their three-point shooting or, their that hot streak that they got on in that fourth quarter. They didn't – I can't even say this was a tale of two halves because they got right back into it in that fourth. All of a sudden it's a one-possession game. So I just think what Joe Mazzulla loved most about this game and why he said it's one of his favorites because the adjustment that the Celtics did on the fly, and they essentially knew exactly what to do. It didn't take trial and error for them to get to that point. They sort of did it almost immediately or at least gradually. And all of a sudden in the second half, they were just they countered, they executed, and Tatum had a lot to do with that at the end of that fourth quarter for sure. But I mean, it was a group effort. Drew Holiday had a terrific game. Al Horford was great off the bench. Porzingis also getting some of those looks. I mean, I love the way Derek White was finding the mismatch down low. Like, how many times did that happen when the Sixers put out that 3-guard lineup? So I just think when you see how the Celtics countered and how they were able to pull out this, damn near 20-point victory. Obviously, that 16-0 run had a lot to do with that, but also just the way they were able to do that, and it didn't take them draining 10 or 23s like we've seen in the past. They only attempted what, 20, 22?
22. And let me ask you guys a quick question.
And they win by 16. Like that. That rarely happens.
Or this.
I like this.
Wait, you're asking me?
Yeah, go for it.
Are we going?
Jimmy cares more.
Are we going Brady Bunch?
I like this. I like this.
I like the skinny.
What?
I like the skin. What do you say? What do you say, Chad?
Bike in the
what do you say, Chad?
Here?
I like the Brady Bunch.
I do too.
Wait,
is there a third option?
It looks
when
like
there's three of us.
Kind of
the other one is
it's better. Yeah.
Wait, this is Brady Bunch.
This is Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
Down. Go over.
Friggin' kids.
Yeah, I knew it was Brady Bunch.
You know it. Yeah,
I knew it was, but I think Bobby thought the other one was Brady Bunch.
Bobby thinks this is
I
around
definitely
the
don't know Brady Bunch.
Bobby's like, oh, you're around the horn.
It's the 9 box,
right?
With everyone looking at each other and waving,
right.
That must have been like some.
It's the Hollywood Squares, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
But when that dropped, that must have been some craziness.
People were freaking out.
Yeah, like
that
how are
was
they
good.
looking at each other like that? What's going on?
The supercomputer that generated that was housed in a warehouse to be able to put that up there.
Yeah.
Just to put the 9-box graphic there. Yeah, when it's all 5, it's Voltron. That's correct.
People say
So Bobby, let's have your top takeaways of this game.
I heard you guys talking about the best game of the year thing, Joe said, and I get what he's getting at there, that they need reps against this level of switching, and you need to have those looks and figure out solutions against that. But I don't love the performance overall against it. They broke free late and got on transition.
It gave them some trouble.
Yeah, it gave them some real trouble in a way that if this happened against a fully loaded team with real personnel to play the way Philadelphia did tonight, you probably lose this game. So I know people are going to be doing backflips over the fact that they won a game shooting 22 threes. It's not great that they were limited to that. It's great that they found solutions to it. And I do love that Al Horford, who's steadily been ramping up his looks at the basket. I think I talked about that after the Chicago game. He got to the rim 4 times in this game and finished. And it can sometimes be a tough shot for him. But again, do you love the ball being in Jalen's hands as much as it was tonight? Do you love Horford having to hit all of those to stay ahead in a game like this? Even forcing guys to make some of those tough decisions at the rim. Like, that's the formula I think you saw tonight to beat the Celtics here. And a more equipped team would have been able to do it. So that's going to tell the story this year, especially if it is a Clippers-Celtics finals. The Clippers are the most equipped team to play the Celtics that way. And that's how they've beaten them at different points over the last couple of years. So this is the formula right here. The Nick Nurse Philly, they put it out there. So how do you feel about them going up against this? Did you guys see the clip of Joe?
I think this is more family style sort of format here. I'm going back and forth with this one. Which clip of Joe? The one about the best game of the year, or the one where he was riffing with Gary?
Like what? What clip? Are you still talking about the Brady Bunch thing? What's going on?
Yeah, I think
I'm still looking at the format. Which clip from Joe, Bobby? The one where he said it was the best game?
I asked him basically, how comfortable do you feel against that level of switching, that kind of scheme? And he just tossed up the stat sheet and said,
he gave you one of these.
Yeah.
He said, take that for data.
How comfortable do you think they look against?
What did you do to Joe? He liked you like a month ago.
Yeah, what happened?
Yeah, he's getting a little snippy with you, Bobby.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but I don't really care.
A little bit.
Good. Don't care.
Good.
Listen, do they look comfortable? Do they look comfortable against switching?
I thought so.
It depends. So you're also going a smaller lineup here, and it was, agitating them a little bit there, but
the small ball killed them.
Yeah. Until it didn't. I actually think Philly probably waited too long to get a big back in there late. And they got chewed up there during the run that kind of ended the game.
Derek White made him pay, man. And catching the switches down low, whether it was Al or Porzingis. I just thought they got right into their offense, and especially off of Philly's misses. That's how you got out to that huge run.
Yeah, I'm not I'm not super worried about it. I mean, they just didn't hit threes, Bobby, but I mean, they got a ton of points in the paint. They shot 50-something. Yeah.
You're going up against, and again, I don't want to play this card because I do agree that you got to just beat who's in front of you, but you're going up against Lowry, Melton, Batum. Like, that small lineup didn't pack a ton of talent in it, and it gave Boston serious trouble out there. In fact, I turned to Josue because I watched the Philly-Milwaukee game on Sunday, and Philly was running that lineup in that game too and just got blown off the court trying to run it. And I was like, that lineup just looks awful. And they came into this one. I'm like, this could get out of hand here in favor of the Celtics. Because they started off the game great. And then that jam against that small lineup, I think they lost by 6 over that stretch. Not a staggering deficit. But again, your bench tonight looked bad for the first time in a long time. And I've been pretty big on them.
It's your bench, buddy.
Yeah. No, I've been pretty big on them all year.
did they look horrible, or did just Philly's bench just step up in a big way, especially with the 3-point
They looked
shots?
horrible.
Mo
Luke wasn't
Bamba.
great. Hauser
say
got
that.
played off the court.
But you're emotional, Bobby. Don't say that. Let's sleep on it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it was that bad.
The bench?
I just
Luke.
think what it,
Yeah,
I mean,
they all played bad. Pritchard was 0-3. He did have the big steal late, but in general, like I had said it, they had a run going back to like November where it felt like they were playing good games pretty much every night. And tonight they got outplayed in a considerable way that actually impacted the game, I felt like. Now the starters just had a substantial advantage. Philly's bigs couldn't stand with Boston's. Like Mo Bamba and Paul Reed's not enough to win those minutes. But I don't know, the second unit there, that was potentially a difference in this game.
So I mean, here's the thing. It's let's jump ahead to the playoffs. Everyone's saying
Are the Sixers
Boston's,
dead?
Boston's bench has been good. Boston's bench is going to freaking terrify you in the playoffs. It's going to terrify you.
Right.
And I was joking.
Yeah.
And I was joking about it earlier, Bobby. It's Al's going to feel old sometimes. He'll have some good games too. Pritchard is going to look overmatched. He's going to look like a G leaguer sometimes when Hauser's shot's not falling, or when he's caught in switches against really quick players like Maxey who are just going to tear him up, or he's going to get a really quick whistle on him, and it's just going to freak you out. And like I said with Luke, I'm not being a jerk about it, but I said earlier, every Luke minute is going to feel like 10 minutes out there, because it's just going to be like, how long can you? They're going to have to. It's going to feel like they have to survive the bench against good teams. I don't believe in this bench against the playoffs. I really don't. It doesn't mean they can't. Look, you come close to playing even, or you don't have. What you don't want to do is, try them out, realize how bad it was, and then basically play your starters for 90% of the second half of every single game. And I think that's going to happen a ton in the playoffs here, because
it's especially a problem.
They're not going to feel good about them. They're not.
Against a switching team, it's especially a problem because you can switch on the Luke, and he's doing a better job hurting teams.
It's really going to mess with them.
Spot, yeah. But if you're switching and taking threes away from Hauser that way, his game becomes a little bit one-dimensional. So the guy you really need, and the stats still back up the positive effect of his minutes. I think he's second in plus-minus period this year, Pritchard. And he's the one who has the playoff experience of those three. His defense, to me, it gets a lot of criticism, but I actually feel like he holds up well, especially in isolation.
His isolation metrics are off the charts good this year. Yeah. He has the best guy. He is statistically the best ISO defender on the team, which is crazy. But yes, it's not as bad as it seems defensively, where you figure he'd get smoked. But I think he's just not consistent, and that's the thing there. So
if you're fully loaded, I think you go to Pritchard at 7. The problem is if you want to go double big, you do have to use Luke at least a few minutes. So that's where you're going to have to make a decision. Do you want double big to be part of your identity? It's been involved in pretty much every game. So like you said last show, John, is it one Luke rotation in the first half and then none in the second half?
But this is becoming exactly. This is becoming indicative of what I expect you're going to see. You're in playoff mode right now. You snuck Luke in for 11 minutes, but almost didn't bring him back in. But if things didn't get a little hairy there in the fourth and he went back to double big, it ended up actually being, whether it had anything to do with Luke or not, a turning point moment. They went on a 16-0 run from that point, and the game was over. After they kind of Philly cut the lead to 2, 91-89. Then it was 107-89, and that was the ball game. But that was it, man. Brissett didn't get minutes. Springer didn't get minutes. Cornette was reduced, and he got a few.
I don't know what the chat's still talking about Tillman pass. Like, he's in the stay ready crew. He's even said it.
He is, and when you get to the playoffs, and you're worried about some of these guys, I think people are going to look back and say, you know what? I kind of wish we played Stevens a little bit more during the year. Maybe they should have given him more of a look. I'm kind of annoyed that we didn't rotate Tillman in to see what he's doing there. All of that stuff could come what I don't get is I don't get being complacent with this bench. If I were Joe, I'd be looking for anything to give it a spark just to see whether or not I've got something else here. You can't sit back and be like, "Oh, this is great." Like, it's been okay, but that's because the starters are so good. As we said at the beginning of the year, it's not the bench per se. It's two bench guys playing with three starters almost all the time. So it's not like, youth league basketball, 5 in, 5 out. There's always stars on the floor, and that's gonna make it right. I'm going to sit a whole quarter.
Josue, that's how you got playing time, bro.
Yeah,
get out of here.
No, but for what it's worth, even if that is the dynamic, John, they are number 1 in bench plus minus this year, so it's been a good unit all year long.
I know,
It hasn't been shaken up. It's
Yes.
just about the transferability to the playoffs and the way you're going to use it in the playoffs.
I think it's gonna give everybody. It's gonna stress everybody out in the playoffs, man.
I just think this is what's going to look like, more or less. I mean, the rotations, playoff minutes. You have to assume Al's going to get a little uptick to about 25-ish, something close to what we saw last year. Maybe the production won't be the same, but the usage will, because they're going to need him. He really does help these guys when the starters need a rest. Bobby and I, we saw him talking to Cornette on the bench, getting guys, making sure everyone's still on the same page and all that stuff. I mean, that's who Al is as a teammate. But what he does on the floor is just equally as important. He's not one of these Udonis Haslem type of guys at this point of his career. So I just think that when you couple that with guys like Pritchard and Hauser, a little Cornette, I mean, this is what it's going to look like in the playoffs.
But the stats,
this is the reward of having easily the best starting 5 in the NBA. I mean, that's still. Proven.
So the bench plus minus is a totally misleading stat because they're playing with starters. So when they're out there, they're being carried. So a lot of people are like, yeah, they're the worst scoring bench in the league, but their plus minus is good. I'm sorry, I don't think that's the right stat to be looking at because they're out.
They all have narrow roles, and they have to do a few small things to actually succeed in their roles. Like if Luke comes in and tests 2 or 3 shots and finishes the one shot he gets, he did his job.
He's got to disrupt like 3 alley-oops right in the first couple of minutes, because that's what teams do, right? They just target him, and he's getting better at that. So I think that we saw a little bit of that, against Philly. I thought tonight, where he forced a couple of turnovers there, and got the Celtics' momentum going a little bit. So that's his role, especially when he's coming in those minutes in the first half.
Yeah, and Derek, I'm not contesting this, but everyone plays with starters. No one plays with six all-star, like 5, like the Celtics are basically an all-star team. So they're not out there with just starters. Some bench guys are playing with Jay Crowder, who's a starter. That's not the same as playing with White or Holiday.
Come on.
That's what I mean is you're basically playing with you're on the floor with 3 all-star caliber level people at all times. It's totally different than other teams. Totally different.
Yeah, it's like the old days when most of the time you saw Pierce Garnett or Ray out there, or Pierce Garnett and Rondo, like one of those guys is usually out there. Except now these guys, they have at least 2
multiple
all-stars, 3 all-stars, out there.
But don't you need
But that's the thing is like
don't you need
that's the difference. Old bench, sorry, Jimmy. Old bench was it's Tatum and a bunch of bums or Brown and a bunch of bums. Can you live? Now it's not that anymore. It's totally different. And you always have one capable point guard in there too with Holiday or White. But anyway, Jimmy, go ahead.
Right.
Well, no, I was going to say, we talked about this when they traded for Tillman. We said, okay, this looks like a player that if they had to go to him, people wouldn't be, clenching their butt cheeks because they were completely nervous about this situation. Whereas if you went to some other guys on this bench, maybe you would be. So to everyone else's point, wouldn't this be the perfect time to get him in the game, get some run in, get some burn, so that if that situation does arise, and again, knock on wood that it doesn't, or does, whatever you're to knock on wood for, because that means there's some sort of injury or there's some reason to have a guy playing less minutes than normal. But that's possible, and if it happens, you don't have to say, oh, there goes the season, if you have a couple guys off the bench who you feel confident in that can hold down the fort, that can just play those extra minutes and make up for what you've lost in some capacity. Now, of course, if you lose Tatum or Brown, that's a different story. But I'm talking about if Al has to play limited minutes or if Porzingis has to play limited minutes for whatever reason. You need to have a guy like Tillman, who we've seen do it in Memphis, give him some of that playing time and see how he plays with these guys, so that if you do have to go to him later on or into the playoffs, it's not a complete like, who's this guy situation.
You can't just throw him in when the time comes.
Right, but Bobby, they got what, an 8-game lead?
Get Tillman in the fucking games, okay?
Yeah, they got an 8-game. Yeah, they got an 8-game lead in the standings right now. Like
why is I know, again, I love Luke. I think he's gonna be there when the time comes. But like, why'd you trade for a guy and put him in the stay ready crew?
You traded stay ready crew.
Well, you traded, yeah. You went from stay ready to continue to stay ready.
You make it sound like it's a downgrade. What do you mean?
So
they traded the guy. They traded it because Bobby. They traded a guy who they were never going to play.
Point exactly right, Bobby.
They wanted a scrapper in the middle.
But it's not like you got him for free. You gave up 2 seconds. So
you gave up your 2 higher second round picks. You gave up that. So
this is the Muscala situation again. And Tillman, you could keep him long term. Maybe that's
Muscala, by the way, bought out Tillman, and everybody in the chat is all in a tizzy about it.
This should be.
A year ago, they traded for Muscala, and they never used him. So it was just kind of a waste of 2 seconds. Maybe Tillman stays around after this, but you do have to use him, I think, to make 2 seconds worthwhile. It's not nothing that you gave up.
Yeah, but it's not like they didn't give him a try, man. Like Muscala he had that first game, and then he had a couple of stints out there. Obviously, Joe didn't like what he saw, so then all of a sudden he was in his leather jacket for the rest of the season. I mean, this is what happened. That doesn't mean something's going to happen with Tillman.
What was the Blake talk, Bobby? I think you were like heading the charge of the Blake talk this week.
They were recruiting him, or at least a couple of guys were, including
Pritchard and White went on a podcast and said that around December they made a pitch to him to jump back on the team, and they all basically got the answer that he's focused on family. And I think that door's pretty much shut now with them going out and getting Tillman. So didn't really work. I think that was kind of his.
I'm going to echo this. That's not a guy to come help you. That's, hey, come hang out with us and win a championship because we like having you around.
Yeah, no shit. They're not going to get anybody right now that's going to help them. They're not. They have no interest. There's already guys on this team that can help them that they choose not to help them. So why are they going to go find somebody on the street? He's just a guy that can hang out in the second bus and keep the vibes going. You got to have a vibes guy, John. You got to have a good vibes guy on the team. Apparently, that's been Blake Griffin.
He's
for a couple
he's
years
a mascot. Yeah, no, but they've got They've got good vibes. Porzingis is a walking good.
Porzingis is one of those guys.
Yeah, you can never have enough good vibes.
Cornette's awesome on there. No,
of course. I'm not saying that they don't have enough.
I think Blake wants to play. He actually got to play last year, so that was a big incentive.
Blake wants to play, except he just said he doesn't want to play. So.
Oh, like if he was gonna join the team, he would actually want to play, not be the mascot.
You think that's what it is, Bob? You think he's been ramping up all season?
Yeah, he's not gonna. He's not gonna take on a full-time job.
He doesn't want that ring. He doesn't want that. Yeah. I'm surprised he's gonna jump on and grab that ring.
He's golfing. He's doing his comedy.
He can still do all those things on the Celtics, though. That's the beauty of it.
You got to show up.
Who's got that thing beeping behind them? Mute yourself for a minute. Thank you. My God,
this is my spot now, man. This is the opposing team.
Mike Palumbo from the top rope, longtime listener, always tuning in post game. This
Fairly
is for the
long
Bobby and Josue to Denver fund. Row 1 behind the bench.
Oh wow, that's $90. I think that we've got towards to get them to Denver fund.
Oh right, because you got what's her name from New York.
Yes, that's right.
Who was that?
John, pocket all of this. That's cool. Jimmy, you don't mind, right?
I got it.
No, only if you guys go. If you don't go, it goes back into my pocket.
That's next week. We're gonna have to book it.
Guys, send me the Denver fund now. All of our Denver peeps.
Yeah, don't you guys have a house? You guys have a house to stay in too. You don't have to pay for room and board.
As of right now, they've got enough money to get to Framingham.
Yeah.
Peter Pan bus. Peter Pan.
That's about it. Yeah, maybe make it to Worcester. I don't know. Maybe.
We need about 27 more.
We could go to Maine.
Yeah, no.
Melanie.
Maybe make it to Worcester, but they can't. They won't be able to come back. Yeah.
Melanie was her name. She said she's gonna put you guys up if you get out there. So there you go.
Yes,
that's a huge expense right there. Anyways,
Worcester. Head over to Worcester.
Yeah,
What else you want to talk
some
about?
more donations will get us to Worcester.
Bobby, all right, so here it is. Ready?
Farther down the pike. Let's get farther down the pike.
Let me tell you, we're going to do 2 more things. Anything else on this game?
God, no.
Oh, shoot. I did the peace sign, the
what do you-
balloons.
Is that what it?
What
We
is this
figure out that's what it
connection you
does.
have? Yeah, no, but only John can do it. It's the weirdest thing. He has.
No,
this
it's like a
connection.
FaceTime camera thing. Double thumbs up does the
Let's
explosions.
go.
When did you find that out?
Yo,
One of
if this
my
team wins it all, John's gonna lose it. He's gonna be going off.
one of my guys
That's so good.
DM'd me about it.
I'm telling you, only John can do it.
Len, one of our
I've
viewers,
tried,
Len
like,
Polner.
I've tried
Damn.
once or twice, and it just doesn't happen. And then I feel.
It's like the
that's-
double does something different. Confetti. Yeah.
This is just like your webcam does this.
Yeah, he's got some.
Yeah,
like,
I think 1 thumbs up does something different, and 2. Oh, it gives you the thumbs up, and the 2 does the fireworks. There's a few of them.
Do the 2 again.
I don't know if it's gonna. You got to smile too.
big smile.
Boom.
Yeah.
There it is.
What were you gonna say? I forgot.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I forget.
I love that those were going off during Cornet talk last time.
I know. I'm like, how the fuck did I get that going? You know.
What about middle finger? Does that do something?
Oh,
Signs you off.
Oh,
yeah.
Speaking of
Power
that,
down.
It immediately closes you out.
Speaking of the middle finger, someone got kicked out with like 10 seconds left tonight and was like giving the middle finger to everybody. Like, it was weird.
I guess he got into it with a Sixers fan. Gary
With campaign, right?
The what?
Oh, was that with the player? Oh, I didn't.
I think it was with the player, and then he got kicked out and was just giving
It was
everybody
like-
the finger.
like the final minute of the game, or close to
that.
it. I think.
Yeah.
Love that.
But he says Cornet.
There's
Anyway.
always something going on, Bobby. Whenever Celtics Sixers. Remember in Philly that guy got kicked out, or someone got checked or something. I forget what it was, but it's always something.
There was something going on in Nick's section.
What are these
too, where
guys
like,
talking
oh.
about, Jimmy? Is it just? Are you guys having a side convo? Should
I'm
Jimmy
trying-
and I
we're trying
have
to
one?
carry the
No, I
damn
brought it
ship
up,
here.
and you guys. I
We're
brought
talking
it up.
about a damn like interaction that only they saw. I guess.
We're still
Yeah.
talking about the game here.
All right.
Somebody
Two
got
other guys
kicked out.
You guys are trying to fire off filters or whatever the heck that is.
That's it.
Yeah. 2 other things. I don't know what pointing does. Hopefully nothing. What? I wonder what the wind
You got
horse
the lower
does. Nothing.
third. You got the lower
I
third. When you did
wonder
it.
what. Nothing. Jason Tatum's wrist wrapped after falling on it the other day and rubbing it a couple times during the game. Any insight there from our intrepid reporters? Anything we should be worried about? Don't say no if you don't know.
I mean,
You know?
it's nothing that they're being crystal clear about. I mean, I don't know if it plagued his performance in this game because he didn't shoot all that great until the fourth quarter, but I didn't see it as something that was slowing him down. But yeah, no one's really elaborated on it.
I mean, he never addressed it fully after the initial injury a couple years ago, obviously. So I don't think it had been an issue to this point this year. But is it something that flares up more easily? He did take a mean spill. Was that in the Knicks game? I thought it was in the Chicago game. But either way, he did take a mean fall on it. Turning the ball over on one play.
He's
I
fine.
I don't know what to
You're
make of
right.
it. Obviously, it's sore if it's getting wrapped up, and I think
You're
it's
right,
probably
Mike, to be honest.
impacted him at different points.
Just throwing it out there. Other
He's
thing,
been
Bobby,
putting a band-aid on that thing for over a year, man.
For like 3 years.
Yeah.
his wrist
couple seasons.
burst.
Remember when Brown's hand burst? Yeah.
It burst.
Yeah,
It
I
burst.
do remember that.
Yeah. The last thing, a report today that Jason Tatum told Doc Rivers to give Jaylen Brown his All-Star minutes so he could get the MVP. Proof, Bobby, that they like each other. Is this it? Did you find it? Did you find the proof?
I think this shot
Yeah,
down
just
my
answer your
reporting, huh?
question. Yeah, just answer your question now.
I mean, I think we've seen visibly over the last week here them embracing each other a little more. And that's all we asked for, John, right? It wouldn't kill either of them when they're asked to say something other than, yeah, we've been together
My
for a long
co-partner.
time. And every time, going back
We've
years.
learned to coexist over
learned
the
to
years. Like,
coexist.
oh, the warmth. Yeah,
that's what I mean.
Did you guys?
I'm sure that's what Bobby says when they ask him, what's it like working with Josue?
John, did you
guys
go off on this?
We
already
coexist with one
at
another.
some point.
No, I just came to Bobby's
I got
defense
90
on
damn
Twitter
tweets about it. Yeah.
Oh, I know. I read them too. I went at it
wrote
with
an
a couple people
article
too.
simply asking, like, people talked about it at the All-Star game. He was just rolling back the quotes, and everybody jumped all over him. So
Yeah, because people don't read the article; they just see the tweet and they cry.
yeah, the article was just like, "Hey, these stars said it's important. Joe Mazzulla says it's not. These guys
Drew
have never
Holiday
been.
said it was important this year too.
Yeah, these guys have never been warm and fuzzy." And everyone's like, "Shut up, loser." And so,
Bob, it's interesting hearing that from Drew because it's a lot of speculation that last season in Milwaukee things weren't so great between him and Giannis, and obviously what happened during the offseason. I mean,
Giannis
regardless,
got him traded.
Giannis wanted to play with Dame no matter what. So even if they had the greatest relationship in the world, I still think that trade happens. But there's a lot of reports and speculating that there was that friendship kind of splintered, towards the end of this regular season into the postseason, which was obviously the bad time.
Also, though, All-Star weekend, Dame was asked his top 5 players if he were to do like which 5 are you rolling with, and he doesn't include Giannis.
Yeah, that part too. Yeah, man.
Kind of
doesn't include Giannis.
Kind of a wild answer.
For the Tatum thing, as he should throughout at the end of that All-Star game, after giving the worst pass in the dunking contest I've ever seen, man. Like we get him a pass with that.
And then he
Jalen
left.
got all the smoke. Oh man, appreciate you.
Now we're in like Fall River.
We're getting.
We in Springfield yet?
You're going in the wrong direction.
Oh,
yeah, we're in Springfield.
Okay, no, we're in like
we want to go through New York.
Albany.
Just what were you saying about that with the
geography
contest?
right?
With the what?
Yeah, and it's funny because he did say "bam" because he wanted to be in Miami so badly. That's exactly right.
Oh no, what I was saying.
What saying?
Yeah. No, I just think that pass. For the listen, the worst pass. Jalen gets all the smoke for how could you jump over a guy that short, and clearly that's not what he wanted to do. And then the video comes out when you see what he wanted to do in that dunk contest. Everyone's like, oh, well, yeah, he wanted to do the deep brown midair. That makes sense. I mean, that's what I thought all along. But I always said from day one.
But they didn't do it because they never practiced it. And Tatum walks out with his freaking coat on. These guys couldn't find 5 minutes to practice this.
No, we didn't. And I'm glad we're into this now because, Jimmy, I want to hear your take and I want to hear John more what he has to say about it. Because to me, I called it I got shit to do after this jacket. Like, that's what he was wearing. Like, I'm going to give you this love, and I'm going to continue my night. And I'm out. And that's exactly what happened. So yeah,
it was
you should feel bad.
What I would call horrible optics. Horrible optics. Seeing the clip of Tatum walking out of the arena during the dunk contest, which in most cases
10 minutes left.
It's pretty much the biggest event of All-Star weekend. Whether or not you think it's trash now or not, it's still
did the classic.
The event that everybody goes to, all the players go to, the fans go to. There's cameras out, there's celebrities there, there's judges, and your teammate leaves as you go to the finals. Your teammate is not there to watch you finish it. What did he have to do? Don't forget, boys, and you were there. You were in Indiana. There wasn't a whole lot going on in Indiana from what I have been told.
Yeah, that's a good point, Jimmy. Yeah.
I don't know why he would plan something. And again, unless it's like an emergency situation came up, why would you plan something for the same exact time of the dunk contest that your teammate is in? Even if you're not a part of the dunk, you should be there cheering him on.
Yeah, Bobby, maybe he was at that Steph Curry party.
Give him like a fake, give him like a massage on the side, like laugh it
up.
up.
The video, John, it's pretty funny.
It's just, to me,
this is like
optics.
Tanguay Takes America, by the way. Remember when we did that at BC? We're gonna send these guys bopping through America on the way to the Super Bowl.
Tanguay Takes America was hilarious. Adam Hart, shout out Adam Hart. He put together that whole.
Oh yeah.
Visual.
I got to hear John. It's pretty.
John Henry drove with.
See, I love this though. Let it go. Look at the conversation. Let it go, guys. They're best friends. Like delusional.
I had to get it off my chest. I haven't been here for a week.
No, not you.
No, it's fine. But that's the thing. It's like
that's the reason why I'm talking about it now. It doesn't bother me.
I don't think it's not like the most. Like, yeah, there's plenty of. It's not like there's not an open disdain. These guys aren't enemies. It's just always been funny
Right.
where it's like, all you got to do is just say this one thing or do this one thing and everyone will leave you alone. And they miss it. But anyway, good pub today because they do that. Simmons talks about it in his podcast and he's like, you know what? He's like, I think these guys are starting to like each other. And I don't disagree with that take in the sense that like, I do think that like the vibe of the team, but the vibe of the whole team is right for them now. You know what I mean? I think they like all of it. I don't think they liked all of it before. And what you had was JB doing his thing, Tatum doing his thing. Tatum's got a couple guys who he was buddies with, but they're kind of like the scrubs. And then, Brown would hang with Marcus a little bit. And, Grant is over doing Grant things, like it was just a little weird.
I think we can all agree Jaylen Brown was annoyed by Grant and Grant hung around Tatum. So Grant Williams was the reason why everybody hated everybody on the team. Now he's gone.
I think there were enough people there.
Can we pull up that Draymond Green clip?
That was we should.
The vibes in the room weren't perfect. I think they were just like, this is who we are. I just think they're just generally just happier this year.
I think when you look at the way the team is, when you look at the way the team's structured too, where it's going to be read base, where it's going to be finding matchups, you're not saying, all right, Tatum's handling the ball for this stretch and getting this many shots, or Brown's going to relieve the bench on the ball. It's all going to be oriented around who you want to pull in the actions. And it's all going to be pretty straightforward and simple. Who gets shots each night, who has the ball on any given possession. Like, it's pretty predetermined in terms of who they're playing and what they're playing against. And my biggest thing is this, we talked a little bit about after the Bulls game, this read the game, be the smartest team, as Jalen talks about. I think it's all made them better players because they're all thinking the game out on the fly. And that's, I think, a credit to Joe, too, in terms of how he structured the team. The read-based, player-based actions and attacking matchups and having that be the structure of everything they do. I think that creates that harmony off the court, and that you're not just funneling shots to Tatum. You're not just funneling shots to Brown. In fact, I think Joe said something specifically after one of the last two games. How can we figure out how to find the hot hand within the flow of the offense and not just be feeding them shots to play one-on-one? And he thought that was a real area of growth in recent games here. So
we've been clamoring for that.
Their offense just continues to evolve, like game in and game out.
Yeah.
It's feeding so many different looks. Like, I don't think there's an answer on how to guard them. I think teams are just throwing crap against the wall and everything's pretty much failing.
Yeah. But I think the comments here are all really astute. I think there's a lot of that. You don't have the forced leadership with the Grants and the Smarts in here, taking a lot of air out of the room and feeling like they got to be the ones to step up when Brown and Tatum might have been like, nah, man, don't. Like everything's just kind of like, it's just easier and it's professional. It's like, everyone just shows up and Bobby just said it, knows what they're supposed to do. I think that makes a big, big difference. It's not, maybe you had, and again, I don't think Brogdon was Brogdon. I don't think there's a lot of love for Brogdon in that area too. But you had a bunch of guys, the 3-guard situation there, who should be in, who shouldn't be in, who's supposed to be a leader, who's supposed to be that. I don't think they disliked each other. I just think it wasn't as free and easy as it is this year. So that's definitely good. Everyone's loving the Muscala here. Any other closing thoughts here? Anyway, we wanted to point it out. I think if it's fair to talk about Jalen Tatum not practicing the dunk with Brown, weird commentary about, coexisting with each other, and then him piecing out at the dunk contest, you're going to mention this too, because you know why? It's all fair to talk about, okay? It's all just out there, and we talk about all of it. So stuff like that is definitely good to see. Tatum advocating for Brown on Sunday after he kind of, left him in the lurch on Saturday. We like it.
Let's play this Tatum clip.
We're going to hear from Tatum. Go ahead, Bobby.
Real quick on Tatum. 9 straight games with 5+ assists, 6.6 assists per game over that stretch, which was 2.2 turnovers. It's really good stuff.
Louise. Oh, Louise.
she got it in there.
I agree with this too. I think Smart had to go. I really do. And it's not because I think there's a lot of love for him, but I think it made such
basketbally speaking, though, he's not missed. If that's putting it gently.
Yeah, it is. We were going to talk about, and yes, Louise, shots fired. Tatum, by the way, talked about things getting them playing through difficulty. We've said this a bunch of times this year, right, guys? Like, they lose this game a year ago. I think Jimmy texted on the thread. This is where they blow this lead with 3 minutes left, whatever it was, and then they pissed it away earlier in the fourth quarter. We've had a lot of these. When they take these punches like they took early in the fourth quarter, how many of these games went in the wrong direction? Another example of them righting the ship and self-correcting and figuring it out, even though it did come after a Joe timeout, which kudos to you, Joe.
Yeah.
Here's Tatum talking about it. I swear.
Psych.
Obviously adding new pieces and guys that have done special things in this league. Drew, who's won the championship. And learning from our mistakes, in the past years, looking past opponents, or if they have guys out, we might let our guard down. I think we just done a better job of learning from those mistakes that we've, made in the past.
Okay.
I'm glad we got that.
I got nothing to add to that.
Thanks, Jimmy.
I didn't put it up there.
No, I'm glad.
Yeah.
Glad the people needed to hear that.
Yeah.
I think the other thing too you look at that Joe's talked about is when they do have these lapses, they get out of them pretty quickly.
Glad we got that.
Like they blew the game back.
There will be no Amit slander. No one who sent you money to go to Denver will be slandered, and Amit will not be slandered on the show. But go ahead, Bobby. Sorry.
Amit didn't send me money.
They did. What was it? The third, they squandered like an 11-point lead, went down 6, or at least somewhere midway through the game. They got out of those lapses pretty quickly. And again, back to like the self-management of the team. I think Joe's talked a lot about how like they figure out what's going wrong in those spots and then pull themselves out of it almost single-handedly. And Joe did have a timeout when they pulled within 2, I think at like 91-89 there. So this game got a little rocky. I didn't love this game. Like, I didn't come out of it saying like, "Ooh, this is amazing. They really learned some stuff here." But as you said, John, there's a lot of games in the past, similar to this one, that they lost. And for them to go running away convincingly in the fourth the way they did, it's the reason this team's going to stack up there regular season-wise with some of the great ones.
Yeah, I'm surprised, Bobby. I feel like this would be one of those Bobby wins, right, guys? I'm really surprised to hear you say that.
I am too, because he loved the Knicks win. He was gushing. It was like the best
called it one of their
all
best.
time.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
The offense was clunky in this game at times. And again, if Philly stayed small and stayed succeeding in that lineup, this one might have gone another way. But those bigs didn't give them enough when they did try to go big and match Boston there. So
I want to address this because it's funny because you guys are saying it and I'll say it too. This stuff, look, Kawhi Leonard was never the face of the NBA, even though he was maybe the best player for a year or two, for a stretch, or at least in the conversation, because he's boring as shit. This hurt. Like, why is everyone like looking at guys like Anthony Edwards? Because he's so freaking fun and entertaining and engaging. This stuff does hurt. Like, to be the face of something, you got to have like
charisma.
You got to have something, right? Even if it's like negative charisma, you know what I mean? Is like even like, or a polarizing personality like LeBron, but you can't just, we just,
yeah. Gotta go out there, play hard.
Good point, man. Even when LeBron turned heel, it was still, he had that chip on his shoulder, and
yeah.
I got
we just go out there and do our thing and just play hard and not worry about the outside noise,
That's what we gotta do all the time,
He's
it's almost like always like too cool for school every time he talks.
I got one more thing for you, John. Do you really believe
just John? All right, Josue, I guess we gotta go. It's just for John.
Do you really believe Embiid's coming back in March?
I think it's possible only because I didn't think he was
You're
going
about
to play
to
the
do the
entire
Rob thing?
Celtics. I didn't think he was going to play the entire Celtics series.
I'm
And
calling
he
BS,
did.
Bobby. I know you didn't ask me, but
That's a
I'm
great
calling BS.
point, John. Yeah, people forget about that. We were saying there was no way he could play the whole series.
I'm stunned that they're gonna do this if they are. But I don't know. Maybe this is their way of keeping the team engaged and trying to hold this thing together. But again, I still don't know. The reporting was bad off the tip. Like you had reports at the beginning that
Well, they wouldn't
did
use
a
the term
repair.
tear. Yeah, they wouldn't want to use the word tear.
Well, no, they were using repair, which would have knocked him out long term. And if he's
we
coming
went
back,
through this whole repair. No,
Yeah, the wording.
repair or replace. No, replace was the long term. Repair is the trim is the repair, right?
well, that'd be
That's the
removal.
one Rob had. No, it's repair or replace. The replace is the long timetable. The
That's the
repair
long-term,
is the
yeah.
trim. That's what Rob got. So if it's a repair, he could be on the Rob Williams timeline.
And that would be 4-6 weeks or so. So that must be what they did.
But if he does come back, Bobby, we're talking about like 70% Embiid. Like I just don't think that's enough.
Remember what Rob looked like coming back that year,
Awful.
and then he started with the pain.
But
and the
Rob
swelling and all that.
Rob relies on athleticism solely to be
also,
effective.
Rob is
If
Rob.
you-
He was never been good. So
Yeah,
to compare him to Embiid is probably not fair.
Well, Embiid's
Taking
always been hurt
10% of
too.
Rob's athleticism away, it took away 50% of his effectiveness. Like he couldn't, because that's all he was.
Yeah, Embiid can shoot his little free throw jumper and launch himself in the guys to get to the free throw line.
He's gonna get his. He's gonna get to the line, and he can.
But they need MVP Embiid to compete. They're not good enough, and he's not going to just be MVP Embiid when he comes back. So I just don't think that even getting him is enough for them to really.
In a first round series, they're a little dangerous if that's what it ends up being.
Yeah,
you don't want to see them.
I think they're just annoying.
Yeah, and that's any team first round. Like the key to the first round is going to be them sweeping through it and sitting back on the couch in Boston. Last year, the 6-game thing with Atlanta that nearly became 7 games, that just set an awful tone for the playoffs. So if it's Orlando, if it's Chicago, like you want one of those teams that you can just blow through and not even have to sweat.
Right.
Yeah. Do you remember wanting Buddy Hield on this team at one point in time? We definitely talked about it.
It was a name we tossed
non-factor,
around.
huh?
It's like a outside shooter type guy.
Yeah,
I pointed that out to Josue during the game. I was like,
"Oh my god,
look good."
Yeah,
at all. Anyway, let's wrap it up here. We got a little break, and we I think we deserve it. I think we'll take it. We're back though. We've got
fun
Fridays.
on Friday. I can't wait for that one.
Luka.
Yeah. How many did he have tonight, Joe?
45. Crazy sequence that went down. If you guys didn't see it,
oh, I did.
He made an incredible no look, but the game wasn't over. I'll leave it at that. Former Celtic.
I'll tell everybody what happened. Max Strus hit a half-court shot to win the game for Cleveland.
Former Celtic, Max Strus.
Buzzer beater. Half-court.
Dallas on Friday. Golden State. Golden State is always fun with Draymond Green, and I'll tell you this. You know what I can't take? I'm already pre-anxious about it. An absolutely just mind-numbing loss to Golden State, where every single feeling we've
the boogeyman is back.
Everything we said today.
Any good thing we've said about this team.
Chris Paul is back too.
I will unsay all of it if they lose to Golden State on Sunday. I will overreact to that loss like nothing ever before.
Clay drops 22 off the bench. I can see.
And you know what,
John? I am going to overreact like crazy to that game.
And you know the day game, fellas. So that just spices it up.
Yeah, it has upset potential for sure.
And you know what? I don't think you can rule them out from making the finals again. I don't know how I'm back here.
I was just gonna say I don't see him. Yeah, I don't see him there.
That's
your only saving grace if the Celtics lose to them is that you probably won't see him again.
They can make that run, Bobby. They can make that run to the final
never
four,
ruled
but
them
know,
out.
You can't do it, John.
They have to get past some really good teams.
I picked them in the finals in my preseason, in my predictions.
Yeah, but
Celtics Warriors.
Remember
Nuggets,
like the 2012
Timberwolves,
Celtics, Jimmy?
Clippers. Yeah, I do.
Remember like the 2012 Celtics? They were not good, but they just figured out ways to keep getting through games.
They nearly got back to the finals. Yeah.
They had heart.
And they still have Curry. They still have Green.
There's a lot of good teams. There's a lot of good teams out there.
Dude, Brandon Bass was a bucket. That reminds me of Brandon Bass.
I don't want to deal with them. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
That would be a great rematch.
As Charles Barkley said, they won't be there. So
yeah, have fun in the play-in.
You know what I don't want to see, John, real quick on Sunday. I don't want to see buddy. I don't want to see buddy Celtics Warriors stuff. I just don't want to see it.
Oh, you mean Tatum and Draymond?
It would be killers.
Especially Brown.
Buddy, Brown,
especially
Tatum,
Brown
Curry,
and Draymond. He stepped on your balls, and like you didn't do anything about it. Like, don't go there and dap it up. Like, get serious here. And you know what? Get friggin' X-Man into this freaking game.
Yeah. Unleash the X.
And have him
that could happen.
Get in Green's face and see what happens. I want to see.
I want X-Man out there on Sunday.
Yeah, I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this again. And we don't
see buddy kissing and hugging on the court. I don't want to see that. They aren't your friends.
I mean, Cornet picked up 2 quick fouls. I wouldn't shock me to see X-Men.
And this is true. Draymond's been buttering these guys up about how awesome they are, and then he's gonna come in and he's gonna rip their throats out. You know, like
that's the mind game he plays. Yeah, man. Spot on. Spot on. And this is the message they want to send. So Golden State, this is like by far the biggest game of the season. I feel like, you know, that they're that type of team that they need a win like this to sort of get that momentum.
Yeah, they need something.
Yeah,
that loss up there was bad early in the year.
That was
this is like a hockey game when you call up your goon because you know that they've got to fight the other goon on the other team, and he's only there for one reason. So get your goon.
He's coming up from Providence. Yup, he's on the way up.
Comes out, takes the helmet off, and just walks right over. He's like, "We're doing this." Yup. And that's what you got to do.
45 seconds into the game, done.
Yeah.
I like that too.
That's it. Thank you. I'm going back to Providence now. Anyway, thank you guys for hanging out with us. Celtics 46-12, still going strong. Couple fun games coming up this weekend, which we will be covering. 9 straight wins. 7 games up on the Cavs in the East. Could have been more if not for a prayer.
Struce hitting the prayer. Yeah.
Thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you for being active in the chat as always. Always fun. I know you guys, keep the people, keep everybody engaged in the chat and keep it going for us. So we do appreciate that. We doing this? Which one is it? Are we out of here? Let's go. Boom.
Only he can do it. I'm telling you.
9 straight fireworks.
Only I can do it. Later.
Wait, Ahmed's got an outro for us, I think.
No, he doesn't.
He said he was going to work on an outro.
He had a phenomenal game. Phenomenal game.
Forfeit's out. I think it's an auction.
That did not sound like a chair.
It was a freaking chair. It does sound like a chair.